All right, everybody. Today's sermon is from 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 through 9. And the text is an interesting one because Peter is writing to a group of new Christians. And what we really need to understand at this time is that there's great persecution right now. And so from gathering to gathering, they didn't know who was going to show up, who would be taken away, who would be killed, who would be silenced or what. So Peter is writing to encourage them in their faith because, if the choice is, live my life free of persecution and oppression or continuing the faith, a lot of people were choosing to live their life free and to abandon the Christian faith. You have to remember that the Christian faith at this time was a very small minority of people. It was not the global religion that it is, the world religion that it is right now, and it's readily accepted. At this time, it was really looked at as an alien religion, and that there's still a lot of people worshiping pagan gods and having a lot of pagan practices. So Peter is writing to them, telling them basically to keep the faith, to keep their hopes up, to keep on going, and that Jesus Christ died for them, and that although they didn't meet Jesus, they don't have that lived experience, that he died for them, and that the purpose of him dying is exactly for them, and that gives them hope and assurance, and that although they may go through a lot of persecutions, that on the other side there is glory and salvation. And some of them accepted this as easily acceptable, and some of them rejected it and ran the other way. And Peter is an interesting candidate to deliver this message because we all know what he did when people came and asked him, "Are you with Jesus?" I mean, he ran scared, and he was asked 3 times, and he denied Christ 3 times. So Peter really knows about what it means to be scared following Jesus Christ. But then he comes around and he gives an example of redemption and allowing faith to come full formed and mature. So Peter is writing to this church, to these people, and they are really struggling in their faith and really wondering if they should abandon it. And Peter is ultimately connecting them to the resurrection story, the Easter story, and saying that Christ died for you and he rose for you, and that there's nothing that can be done on this earth that can separate you from that love. And that we need to be joyous in that. We need to receive that. And we need to welcome that. And that, yes, times will be hard. Times are hard right now, folk. We're stuck in these houses. And let me just tell you that it has literally taken me 4 hours to record this 6-minute sermon because there is just so much going on. Every time I sit down and I think I'm going to do it, somebody calls me, the phone rings, somebody's knocking at the door, leaving something or something crazy. And there's just so many distractions and so many pulls in different places. And then it's just the fact of being in the house and not knowing when you're going to get out. It's like, please, save me. But there is a plan. God has a plan for us all, and that there are lessons learned through every moment, every trial, every obstacle that comes our way. It's all a matter of perspective and how you approach it. And Peter is trying to encourage them, and he is trying to encourage us to keep the faith, that there is a plan. Oftentimes in times like these, there are a myriad of options. One of those options is to just lose hope, to just give up. Another option is to deny what is happening and put on blinders and act like nothing is going on. And then there's a third option, and that is to face the reality of what is going on and try to live each moment for what it is there for, to try and to make the best of each moment. And that is the approach Peter is coming at it, and that is hopefully the approach you're coming out of it, and that's the approach I'm trying to come out of all of this with. That God is ultimately in control, and that God has a plan for us all through this pandemic, through our trials and tribulations, through living in our homes for all this time. My dog is looking at me crazy, like he's like, "You guys are never home this much. I wish you would leave so I could have my peace." And I understand that. But there's hope in the resurrection, that through the trials and tribulations of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, that we can see the hope and love of God. That is the message right now, that the resurrection has us hopeful and knowing that God is in control, that God has a plan, that we won't ignore what is happening, we won't push aside what is happening, but that we can find a deeper faith and a deeper meaning in what is happening right now, and that we can learn from it and apply it to what will happen to us in the future, and that we can share the lessons that we have learned through this situation. There's always hope. There's always hope, and you always have a choice. And I pray that you choose hope, that you don't lose hope, that you don't give in, that you don't ignore what is happening, that you don't put on those blinders, or that you resolve within yourself, with those in your house, to have hope, to find peace, and to share love and joy. God bless you. Amen.